So before I get into the gist of what I want to talk about today, which is how, if you vote for Joe Biden this year, you have the blood of 23,000 and counting Palestinian people, 8,000 of which are children on your hands. I just want to talk about this little diversion. Charlie Kirk, washed up, Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, is preparing to launch a campaign against MLK and the landmark civil rights law he helped enact, according to Wired. So if you know anything about the civil rights movement, you know that the FBI spent a substantial chunk of time trying to discredit Martin Luther King. His birthday is tomorrow. It actually coincides with his actual birthday because the day that the feds want us to celebrate Martin Luther King Day is always the third Monday in the month of January. Martin Luther King was born January 15th, 1929, so it just so happens to fall on his birthday this year. So, happy birthday to you. But talking about fucking Kirk, okay, this washed up, irrelevant, has been asshole. Um, we know that the FBI literally tried to get Martin Luther King to commit suicide, right? Tried to like say that he was involved with prostitutes. Tried to say that he was involved in all sorts of shit that did not work. Like they failed to discredit Martin Luther King among the masses of his people because the black nation in America continued to follow and accept the leadership of Martin Luther King Jr. because he represented the best of our aspirations. Now, did he not have political problems? Did he not have ideological problems? Absolutely not. He made many ideological mistakes, but at the time that he was murdered, he was a solid anti-imperialist and democratic socialist. So we should remember him as he was a damn good fighter for the democratic and civil rights of our people. Um, so what did the feds try to do to MLK? They began monitoring him in December 1955 during his involvement with the Montgomery bus boycott. One thing about Hoover, like he kept dossiers on everybody. He kept files on everybody. He even kept files that he would try to use to blackmail presidents of the United States. Okay, like he had a lot of shit on Kennedy. He had a lot of shit on Johnson. He had a lot of shit on Eisenhower. He had a lot of shit on Roosevelt. He had a lot of shit on everybody that he served under. So this was a very crooked and very paranoid little man. So Hoover told RFK, JFK's brother, Robert Kennedy, that Stanley Levinson, one of King's closest advisors, was a secret member of the Communist Party. In the following months, Hoover deployed agents to find subversive material on King, and RFK put wiretaps on King's house and the SCLC offices in October of 63. Hoover continued to improve investigations of King and covert operations to discredit King's standing among financial supporters, church leaders, government officials, and the media. When King condemned the Vietnam War in a speech at Riverside Church on April 4th, 1967, exactly a year to the day before he was murdered, the FBI interpreted this position as proof that he has been influenced by communist advisors and stepped up their COINTEL program against them. In 1967, August, the FBI created a COINTELPRO against black nationalist hate groups. Yes, they literally considered the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and Martin Luther King to be black nationalist hate groups. King was identified as a target because the FBI believed that he could become a messiah who could unify black nationalists should he abandon his supposed obedience to white liberal doctrines, aka nonviolence, and embrace black nationalism. So yeah. And there was a contradiction because even though civil rights activists like King were aware that they were being spied on, they still had to rely upon the Bureau to investigate racial discrimination cases, which is incredibly fucked up. So how does this all tie into Charlie Kirk? Because the material that Kirk is going to try to lean on to discredit Martin Luther King is undoubtedly going to come heavily from the FBI COINTELPRO against him. And this guy is riddled with contradictions because in 2015 he called MLK a hero, and in 22 he called him a civil rights icon. But December of last year, he was speaking before a group of students and teachers at this stupid convention that he put together. He said that MLK was awful. Kirk says that MLK was not a good person. He said one good thing that he actually didn't believe. So he's done this fucking heel turn. Why? Because he wants to remain relevant. And in what way can you remain relevant as a reactionary, so-called conservative, crypto-fascist, besides attacking somebody who is viewed in very wide regard by the entirety of the country? Like fucking Republicans at least have to give MLK his props. So who else was attending this stupid fucking conference? You have Donald Trump Jr., you have Tucker Carlson, and you have U.S. Representative Matt Gaetz from Florida. 20,000 people went to this thing, according to Kirk, who should be taken with a pretty heavy box of salt. So Kirk is going to argue that the Civil Rights Act, which bars discrimination on the basis of race, ushered in a permanent diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI type bureaucracy. And he goes on to claim to illustrate how the law has gone wrong, responding to a question from a student who said that they became a student of a Title IX investigation after posting an Instagram story mocking transgender people. So you're upset that you cannot be racist in public, and you cannot face you're gonna face consequences for saying stupid shit that is harmful and exclusionary and discriminatory against people. Kirk goes on to say that the courts have been very weak on this. Federal courts just yield to the Civil Rights Act as if it's the actual American Constitution. So this is Dixiecrat shit. Like, why are you trying to resurrect the Dixiecrats in the year of Gonzalo 2024? Because Kirk wants attention. He wants attention. He wants to be relevant again. And he goes on to say that on this little shitty podcast he does, that we're going to be hitting him next week. Yeah, on the day of the Iowa caucus, it's MLK Day. We're going to do the thing you're not supposed to do. We're going to tell the truth about MLK Jr. You better tune in next week. Blake Neff has already been preparing. It's going to be great. So Blake Neff is his producer of the Charlie Kirk Show. He resigned from his job as Fox News as Tucker Carlson's top writer after CNN revealed that he had been making racist posts under a pseudonym. So he got fired from Fox, which is not by any stretch of the imagination a progressive news organ, for being too racist. So Andrew Colvett, which is a spokesperson for TPUSA, says that a core part of this fake history of America is the elevation of MLK into a saint whose entire being is beyond reproach and above question. This sanctified version of MLK strips away his actual views and ignores his actual actions. The real MLK was a complicated person. I wonder if any of these people have actually read anything written about King by a progressive author, by a revolutionary author, or have read any of King's speeches. Are they going to try to portray him as some loony pseudo-Antifa type or something? The point of this is to keep Charlie Kirk and TPUSA relevant and probably grift a whole shitload of money. Well, they've actually already been doing that because they were selling a $55 t-shirt. First of all, who the fuck pays $55 for a t-shirt with MLK's name and stickers of King that say Let Freedom Ring? After an inquiry from Wired, both products were removed from TPUSA's store. So, yeah, it's a fucking grift. You're not going to fucking cancel Martin Luther King, okay? The only way that white people were able to cancel Martin Luther King was by literally shooting him in the throat. Then they turned him into a revolutionary martyr to colonized and oppressed people all over the world. Okay? You're just not going to write off one of the greatest figures, not just in Black, but in world history. Okay? That's not going to happen. So, Charlie Kirk needs to work on getting face expansion surgery and leave Martin Luther King alone. So, I made this post last night. If you vote for Joe Biden this year, you need to be excluded from left organizing forever. Correct, right? But liberals found it, and they were quote retweeting, and they were showing their whole asses. Here's some of the funniest ones. Given that all you do is post and play golf, I have never played golf a day in my life. I'm not sure what kind of ability you think you have to arbitrate that for anybody. Well, I guess it's because I wear the fucking flat caps. But I don't wear the flat caps because I play golf, okay? I wear the flat caps because I have a very weird-shaped head. and the flat caps actually complement and feel good on my very weird shaped head. That's why I wear the flat caps. That's my trademark. I'm not abandoning them. I'm not abandoning it. Abandoning it. Sorry, still can't talk. I still got shit in my nose. Um, and somebody had the audacity to post this. A guy blocked me last night. He actually is the head of the college Democrats at the university that I attended. I can't even remember his name. I think I mocked his appearance. He looks like a fucking knockoff Jack Black. But so somebody actually had the audacity to post this. Statistic Urban, data scientist, MS and CS, stats, biochemistry, current econ MS student, American, German, and British flags in the bio. So, not a very politically advanced person. But first of all, this chart is just fucking wrong, okay? It's just fucking wrong. Like, it's... What liberals do is they play with data to try to make themselves look good. Like, drone strikes are not the only metric by which we can measure support for imperialism. We can measure somebody occupying the White House as a statement of support for imperialism. Like, what exactly is this trying to prove? I also love how they make him a one-term president. They say he's going to come out of office on January 19th, 2025. So, Biden-Harris, folks, 2024 in a nutshell. I forgive war criminals. Getting real German communisty party of 1932 vibes. The equivalent of getting political advice from a sixth grader. Donald Trump will be so much worse than Biden in every way. Taking the simplest action to stop his presidency should be obvious for all leftists. He's got 724 likes. I don't know if they have like some liberal Discord or liberal Signal chat where they post communist tweets or something, but like they all just found the tweet and they've been going ham all fucking day and all last night. Like Donald Trump is a different type of fascist than Joe Biden, right? Donald Trump is loud, he's open, he's bombastic. Biden is quiet. Biden is basically a technocrat. But both still have the same results. Both are going to support Israel. Both are going to support the continued extermination or attempted extermination of the Palestinian people of Gaza and the West Bank occupied territories. So for the Palestinian people, there is fundamentally no difference between Biden and Trump. Trump worked to move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Okay? Leftist organizing. Like, I'm literally a DSA member. We organize. Like, we have people in Congress. We work in housing justice. We work to organize workers. Like, to say that somebody that's involved in DSA doesn't do organizing, it's just fucking... It's just bullshit. Like, what exactly do these liberals do? How many people have liberals fed? Do liberals do mutual aid? Do liberals do anything besides try to browbeat black and brown and Palestinian people into voting for a different type of fascist? I don't take orders from a red brownist. If you fail to vote against Trump this year, you are not on the left and probably never were. Left organizing? What's that? This is why I organize. I organize not as a hobby, not as a leftist, but as a regular guy. A fascist. I always knew the cis would never support us when it actually mattered. Can we not have infighting? Like, I don't consider liberals part of the left for this exact fucking reason. After Trump, our turn. Consider it done, as I will be voting for Biden. Dude, Biden handing me the letter fucking L. Yes, free to dibs. Twitter, 0 days without all or nothing thinking. People are being murdered. The Zionists are trying to wipe out an entire fucking ethnicity, and these liberals still don't fucking get it. I was never very organized anyway, so that's on brand for me. Shut the fuck up. Like, it's just page after page after page, ream after ream after ream of this shit. You guys love losing, don't you? And they have the audacity to say this with the Ukrainian flag in their bio. The R word has a hammer and sickle in their username. So, MAGA communism, man, like, these people don't know anything. They know nothing. So, let's go to Malcolm. Let's see what Malcolm says. If you're black, you were born in jail, in the North as well as the South. Stop talking about the South. As long as you are south of the Canadian border, you are South. Don't call Governor Wallace a Dixie governor. Romney is a Dixie governor. 22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up and they are gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they become and develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. They see the whites are so evenly divided that every time they vote, the race is so close, they have to go back and count the votes all over again. Which means that any block, any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Our Palestinian comrades have realized this. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who'll go to the White House and who'll go in the doghouse. You are the one who has that power. You could keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington. You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the black vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been and are in Washington, D.C. only because of the black vote. They've been down there for 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they've brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. You put the Democrats first, and they put you last because you're a chump, a political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republican. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33% of senators are Republicans. The party that you back controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives in the Senate, and they still can't keep their promise to you because you're a chump. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you're dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your people. What kind of alibi do these liberals, these do-nothing liberals, these genocidal liberals come up with? They try and pass the buck to the Dixiecrats. They want to talk about Trump. Now, back during the days when you were blind, deaf, and dumb, ignorant, politically immature, naturally, you went along with that. But today, as your eyes come open and you develop political maturity, you're able to see and think for yourself. And you can see that a Dixiecrat is nothing but a Democrat in disguise. So basically what he's saying is like, there is no two-party system in this country, okay? There is one party, the party of imperialism. So this is a Kanye. This is what they've been doing with you and me all of these years. So just because black people refuse to get conned, we're now apparently Trump supporters. We're Trump supporters. We're racist. We're fascists. We're transphobic. We're all these different things. And keep in mind that Biden has done nothing to alleviate the position of trans people. He has done nothing to alleviate the position of black people. He has done nothing to alleviate the position of Palestinian people. All that we've got is stopped down 100% support for Zionist genocide. We've seen Roe v. Wade get overturned. Although, of course, yes, Biden did not sign an executive order to do that, but it still happened on his watch. We see nothing but stammering and muttering, inflation, and all other types of bullshit. But the key political issue right now is the genocide against the Palestinian people and stopping it. So these liberals have the audacity, what even had the audacity to lecture me on what Malcolm X believed, and I have a fucking degree in black studies. These people have fucking lost their minds. Just because I, a gay, black communist, refuse to unequivocally, full-throatedly throw my support behind this old, racist, segregationist fascist, I'm the problem. Fuck you. Like, these are the exact types of sneaky, vulpine, fox-like, white liberals that Malcolm attacked and criticized and warned us against. These people are worse enemies to us than Trump and his supporters are. At least Trump and his supporters are honest. If you go out and vote for Trump, you already know what you're going to get. These liberals promise you everything under the fucking sun, and then when they get elected, you might as well have had Trump in the first place. So, just because we break from this bullshit, we break out of this bullshit system, we're the bad guys. We're the bad people. Fuck you. How the Biden administration defends its Israel policy. What is the Israel policy of the Biden administration? Genocide. Like, that's summing it up. What are the administration's current hopes for the war in Gaza? Is it humanitarian aid? Is it a just peace for the Palestinian people? No. This Biden hack says that we've been very clear, very consistent. Number one, we want to make sure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself against the threat emanating from Gaza, which is, of course, by Hamas. And Hamas still represents a viable threat to the Israeli people. Number two, to get the hostages out. Number three, they put the Palestinian people last. The Palestinian people should be first because 23,000 of them, 8,000 of which are children, have been murdered. So they should be number one priority. But no, you're still carrying this Zionist propaganda about Gaza and Hamas. We have to destroy Hamas. Bruh. But these are the people we're supposed to vote for. Then they have the audacity to claim that America has been leading the world in terms of the effort to get humanitarian assistance. Like, they refer to Palestinian civilians who have been murdered through war crimes as an afterthought. Then he hems and haws. The interviewer asks, "We're giving them weapons though, right?" Well, just wait. We're going to continue to talk to them about the need to continue to conduct operations in the most precise, deliberate, careful way possible. The Israelis aren't waking up every morning, strapping their boots on and going into the fight with the mindset that they're deliberately going to kill civilians and that they're going to... This is an outright lie. The Israelis are waking up every morning, strapping their boots on and going into the fight with the mindset that they are deliberately going to kill civilians and that they are going to reduce civilian infrastructure to rubble for the sake of doing it. Look at this. This is what your tax dollars, this is what your vote is going to support. If you vote for Biden in November, this is what you are going to help ensure more of. Any candidate that is not unequivocally 100% opposed to Israel is supporting this. You're supporting dead kids. You're supporting mass graves. You're supporting bodies buried under rubble that are never ever going to be recovered whole. Even his own administration is pissed at him. There's a generation gap. I saw a young Palestinian dude who used to work for his administration resign in disgust. Hundreds of federal government employees have signed an open letter to Biden demanding his administration push for a ceasefire to protect the lives of Palestinian civilians. Dozens of foreign service officers at the State Department. The State Department is not a progressive institution by any means, but they are so disgusted by this that they have voiced objections to the administration's handling of the conflict in several official dissent cables, congressional and administration officials say. And at the U.S. Agency for International Development, hundreds of employees have signed a letter critical of the administration's approach. In Congress, hundreds of staff members have held protests and signed letters demanding a ceasefire and an end to what they see as a U.S. blank check for Israel. So if you are supporting Biden unequivocally, it'd be different if you were actually criticizing him. But they're not even criticizing this guy. They're not even criticizing him. They're trying to browbeat us into fully supporting this guy who his own fucking administration hates. We're being called MAGA communists. We're being called all types of shit. And it's shocking that a lot of black people who know what genocide looks like are supporting this shit. Unequivocally. Twitch doesn't count as organizing. Stop. Delete this. Somebody's throwing somebody in a dumpster. Like, these people, I'm rarely like royally pissed off, but like, these people don't fucking get it. How many dead fucking babies do you have to see on your Twitter feed before you fucking get it? Before you realize that your hands are covered in just as much, if not more, blood than Joe Biden's. And never mind the situation in Yemen. Check this out. Keep in mind, this is an illegal. He's looking at a fucking map of a coffee family tree. But this is an illegal intervention, okay? This is an illegal process. You cannot just go bomb countries all around the world. So what is Biden saying about the situation in Yemen?
We will make sure that we respond to the Houthis if they continue this
They're not the Houthis, they're Ansar Allah. Of course, I don't think Biden could pronounce that.
outrageous behavior, along with our allies. No. Iran does not want a war with us.
And you don't want a war with Iran. Yeah, like this guy is sick, okay? Like if you elect this guy to a second term, he might not even survive until fucking 2028. He might be dead soon. Like, come on. Like, what is the appeal here? Like, give me one reason why I should feel compelled to get up in a Midwestern November and punch a ticket for Joe Biden. As a communist, as a black man, as a gay man, as a firm and staunch ally of the Palestinian people. Give me one compelling reason. Don't try to browbeat me. Don't try to make me feel guilty because I don't have fucking white guilt. There is none. That's why they resort to those measures in the first place.
Are you willing to call these a terrorist group, sir? I think they are.
You can't just arbitrarily make the distinction of what is a terrorist group. The Houthis, Ansar Allah would say that America is a terrorist group, and they'd be more correct than this fucking ghoul.
Yes. I don't think there's any civilian casualties.
How the fuck do you know?
That's another reason why it's a success.
The Israeli army releasing footage on Saturday it says shows IDF troop operations around southern Gaza City's Issa district.
These are civilian homes.
The Gaza Strip, as well as airstrikes on some Hamas targets. Hamas rescue
How do they define what a Hamas target is?
officials in Gaza claim an Israeli airstrike killed 76 members of an extended family.
76 members of one family. That's what you're supporting. If you vote for Biden, that's what you're supporting. The extermination of entire fucking families.
Day after the United Nations chief warned that nowhere in Gaza is safe and that the ongoing Israeli offensive is creating, quote, massive obstacles to delivering humanitarian aid. Israel striking various locations in northern Gaza on Saturday, including Jabalia, home to Gaza's largest refugee camp. The UN estimates approximately 85% of Gaza's population has been displaced since the conflict began. A report from the UN and other agencies says a quarter of the population, or more than 500,000 people in Gaza, are starving. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu continuing to emphasize Israel will not stop until it destroys Hamas and all remaining hostages taken on October 7th are released. On Saturday, President Biden spoke with the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, in the West Bank, the city of Bethlehem in the West.
He had a private conversation with an evil man and did not ask for a ceasefire. But again, I should vote for this guy. Biden vowed to reform immigration detention. Instead, private prisons benefited. So he's reopened and expanded the concentration camp system. As a presidential candidate in 2020, Joe Biden pledged to end for-profit immigration detention, saying that no business should profit from the suffering of desperate people fleeing violence. And they only closed one facility. But again, you should vote for this guy. We have to. We've got a migrant crisis at the border Biden is doing nothing about. He's not addressing the situations that He's not addressing the situations that led to the migrant crisis in the first place. He's not doing anything. He's just sitting up here, just throwing more and more military aid and weapons to Ukraine and Israel and all of this shit. Shit is getting more and more expensive, and all he can do is drop bombs. That's all he can do. So, again, like, why exactly should I vote for this murderous-ass lame duck? Why? And am I a Trump supporter? Absolutely not. Those are the MAGA communist Jackson Hinkle type morons. I'm not one of those people. But my revolutionary tradition, the Black revolutionary tradition, tells me that I am not obliged to vote for one or the other evil-ass white man just to salve my guilty conscience. My conscience is going to be salved through revolution, through the ending of this system, through the ending of this dog and pony show, this horse race, this bullshit that serves nobody. My conscience is not going to be salved by continuing to support a regime that has contributed to the deaths of 23,000 Palestinian people, 8,000 plus of which are little kids. So, next time a liberal tells you that you have to vote for Biden, tell them, no, you don't. Like, tell them to go to the bathroom and try to wash the blood off their hands. Tell them to explain to the dead Palestinian kid that haunts their dreams at night, that stares at them every time they look in a mirror. Tell them to explain to that kid why they had to vote to continue that. Vote for nobody. Abstain. Like, you cannot go to the polls. You are not obliged to vote. We do not have compulsory voting in this country. They can't fine you for refusing to vote. Not voting is your right. No, there is no third-party candidate that piques my interest. RFK Jr., Cornel West, fuck all of these people, okay? We need a better way. We need a revolution. We need socialism. And we need to struggle for communism. And am I even opposed to using electoral politics at the local level or even at the state level? No. If there's a fascist that could be unseated from a school board that is harassing and tormenting trans kids, by all means, run a progressive candidate and back that candidacy to the hilt. But national politics, president, no. Like, we're never going to elect a socialist to the White House. They will assassinate anybody that even has a remote chance of winning. It's not going to happen. Like Nate says, armed struggle, armed struggle, armed struggle. But no armed struggle now. Mass organizing and political education. If you vote for Biden, how the fuck do you sleep at night?